Well, here we are on another virtual field trip. Today we're going to be doing the Saratoga Monument, which is directly behind me, nice and tall all the way up there. And because of the pandemic that's going on right now, we are not able to climb up it, so I apologize. But we'll be able to look on the outside, and then we're going to go on the Victory Trail. So I hope you enjoy this Saratoga Monument walking field trip. So here we are at the base of the monument. I'm choosing this side to look at because this is the missing side. So on each of the four sides, in this little cavity right here, there is a famous person in American history. But this side was left blank for a reason. There was a famous military person named Benedict Arnold who worked with the Revolutionary soldiers and was an amazing general in our military, but was very frustrated with the leadership and decided to switch sides. And because of that, he was considered a traitor, and they took his statue out because of that. This out here is what you would see for the view, looking out and about. You can see all the way over to Greenwich. If you look this way right here, you can see all the way to Greenwich. And on a clear night, you can see the lights of Willard Mountain through those trees over there. But this is the Saratoga Monument Cemetery out here. And just a quick reminder that every time I stop and take a picture at a sign, make sure that you pause your video so you can read the sign. I hope you enjoy the walk. As you come through from the monument, you'll walk along the cemetery path and you'll be able to see headstones of families dating all the way back to the 1700s, which is pretty impressive. And you'll see things like this, which is actually where the rocks are. You can see this is a family plot. So you'll notice the fathers and the mothers, and then they have all this open space for future family members who will go in there. But as we walk down this path a little bit farther, we're going to take a left, and we're going to be going down into those woods down there where there's a beautiful trail with some really cool historical information about the battles that took place here. Looking back at the monument we've walked away from, you can see we haven't gone too far, but far enough. We're out of the cemetery now, and in the most eastern back corner, you start to leave the field or the cemetery, and here's a marker that says you're on the Victory Wood Trail, and it goes down into the woods like this, and this is where we're going to head right now. After about 100 feet or so, you're going to come to this, which is a nice little decked area. This is the beginning part of the all-season trail. And down the end of the road down there will take you out to Burgoyne Avenue. So this is a dead-end street here. And we'll come up to another sign just in a moment. And now we're off into the woods, and you can see for a good portion of it, it's all decked like this. And off in the distance here to your east, you'll see a little swamp area. And then that's looking back out towards the end of the cemetery. And we're going to continue down this way here. Continuing down the path a little bit farther, you're going to come to almost a 90-degree turn here. And this is going to give you a little bit of background of this area. This area is much cleaner and nicer than it used to be. And it'll tell you that this area has been picked clean of artifacts. And this is what they're saying. All along this path, you're not allowed to go on either side of these wires here, because they want to try to keep everything as natural as possible, and they're fearful that people would take artifacts if they did find them. But as we come up here, we're going to stop at some of these signs. And just remember, pause when you see the picture of a sign. A couple 100 feet down, there is a right-hand turn, or you can continue straight. When you go straight like we are right now, it basically brings you down to a picnic area that you can hang out, have a snack or lunch, and it's just kind of a nice, beautiful, quiet spot. Then you'll have to turn back and go either down the left, new part of the trail, or exit the trail. And here's the dead end that I was talking to you about before, basically overlooking that swamp area that we came around from earlier. But there's a nice little handicap accessible picnic table here, and on a day like today when there's no bugs and it's nice and sunny out, it's a great spot. You can hear chipmunks running around out in the grass, and the woodpeckers off in the distance. Now, I apologize. I know a lot of you can see those signs just quickly, but you might not be able to read them because of the glare or because of the small print and the faded signs. But basically, if you could imagine back in the 1700s, late 1700s, this area did not look like this. It did not have these trees. None of these trees were here at that time. These are all what's considered new growth trees. Maybe some of them as old as 40 or 50 years, but definitely not able to see what had happened in the Revolutionary War times and French and Indian War times. But this area here was a swamp. It had a lot of mucky, nasty insects and things like that. And what happened in this area was devastating. Dead animals, soldiers hurt, and supposedly the stench of this area would waft all the way down to where we saw at General Schuyler's house. It would go all the way down into the village, and it was terrible because of so many decaying animals and things like that. So we're very fortunate today that we can come through here, and it's nice and clean and airy, and the trees are beautiful. But back then, you can imagine it was a time of war, so it was pretty violent. So we just came to the last sign that I think is the best sign in this whole area. It talks about two brothers, the McGuire brothers. And oftentimes what happened was people who believed in British rule and wanted to stay under British rule often lived side by side with people who disagreed and wanted to become an independent country. And that's exactly what happened with the McGuire brothers. One brother stayed loyal to the King of England, and the other brother wanted to become separate and become an independent country. And during the heat of battle, right here in this very spot, one brother here and one brother across and over in Victory realized that they were actually fighting each other. And they stopped, put down their weapons, walked towards each other and gave each other a hug, and moments later walked back on their side and continued to fight each other. So that was the devastation of fighting within your own country and against even family members because of such strong beliefs. So it was pretty impressive, and the McGuire brothers are a true testament to how important they felt their beliefs were. So here we are at the end of the trail. You just saw the last sign, which was the Loyalists leave early. Now behind me, there's really nothing. It kind of dead ends. But also just off to the east, you'll see that the trail looks like it starts to continue. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to continue this trail along and head it all the way out to the town of Victory, or the village of Victory. And the hope is that this trail will go all the way out there to Victory, and there'll be more informational signs along the way. So hopefully before you guys graduate, that trail will be completed with some more signs, and you'll be able to come here with your parents and enjoy this really cool walk through history. Hope you enjoyed our trail, our Victory Trail walk, and I'll be asking you a couple questions on Google Classroom.